Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are talking all about my favorite products from the month of June today. Can you believe that July is already upon us? I have some really good things to share with you guys today. A couple of new things, a lot of old favorites or older favorites that have been rediscoveries for me this month, and just some other random things. Some brushes today that we'll get into. Before we get into my favorite products, I want to give a special welcome to any new visitors to my channel. So happy to have you here. I hope that you enjoy this video. If you do, first off, make sure you're subscribed and that your notification bell is turned on. And for all of you, please give this video a big thumbs up. And with that said, let's get to it. Alright, so I have a pile of things here on my desk. I'm just gonna kind of randomly grab some things. Let's start off with a longtime favorite that has made a few appearances in favorites videos, but I'm not sure that I've mentioned this for a while, and I actually haven't used it as much recently. There I go again, talking too much. I'm talking about the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. This has been a longtime favorite mascara of mine. It's long been touted as my favorite high-end mascara, and I'm generally someone that prefers to spend my money on mascaras at the drugstore and save that money that I could have spent on high-end mascaras for buying eyeshadow palettes. This is one of the few mascaras that I don't think there's a drugstore alternative to this mascara. It's just a mascara that gives you a lot of intensity, both with volume and length. It's rich and dark and black, and it goes on really, really quickly. This is not a mascara that I find I need to build up, or really even one that I find you could build up, because it applies so much product to your lashes from the first swipe that you can quickly get really intense, bold, beautiful, almost false looking lashes very, very quickly. I am wearing this on my eyes today. I have been wearing it a lot more on my eyes recently when I don't find myself needing to use my IT Cosmetics, which I consider my outdoor kind of swimming or watching sports mascara because it's so water resistant. This one's definitely not water resistant. If you do have watery eyes, if I find my eyes start to water, this is going to run in those situations. So I have to be careful when I use this. But just for everyday use, when I'm inside a lot, maybe for a date night or when I want my lashes just to look extra good, this is such a great one. Next up, I have a really interesting product. This is from e.l.f. This is their Mix to Match Adjuster. I have two of these. I have a white one and then this one, which is kind of a medium to deep brown. This is actually a shade mixer that you can mix into your foundations when they don't quite match you. I'm not quite sure how many shades of this they have. I would imagine if you have medium to deep skin, this probably wouldn't be quite deep enough to darken up your foundations. For me, this one works really well for a lot of my foundations, which right now are just a little bit too light for me. I can mix just a small drop of this into those to get the shade match right, but I don't find that it interferes too much with the formula. It's very, very liquidy. Let me just show you guys how liquidy it is. Hopefully you can see that there. I've tried it with a lot of different foundations, and I found it to work great with any foundation that I've mixed it into. Just a really good functional product to have around if you are someone whose complexion varies throughout the year, and I think these are pretty affordable. I want to say these are only a couple of dollars, which is really great. Next up, let's move through some cheek products. So I first want to start off by mentioning this right here. This is the Samantha March Life's a Draft palette in collaboration with Ofra. I like this palette, but what I'm mentioning this as a favorite for is for this blush right here. This blush is stunning. It is one of my favorite blushes to put on my cheeks recently. It's the only powder blush that I've even been putting on my cheeks recently because I've just been going through such a liquid and cream blush craze for quite a few months, actually, probably for about 6 months now. I've really been into the liquid and cream blushes. This shade is just so special and so unique. It's a really pretty kind of a dusty rose that's quite intense. I mean, you can definitely go in light-handed if you have more fair skin and get it to work for you, but I would say this would work on even more medium tone skins or medium skin tones. That came out wrong. I really love this blush. It is so beautiful. Very happy with this one. The palette as a whole is great, but especially this blush right here. I just find myself reaching into this palette just for that blush over and over and over again. Next, I have another cheek product. This I've had for a long time. I'm kind of shocked that it's finally making it into a favorites video because it took me a long time to figure out how to use and or to fall in love with this product. It is the Daniel Sandler watercolor. This one specifically is in the shade Sun Glow. This is the more bronzy tone that came in the set of 4 that I got on the Skin Store website. I've mentioned them a few times before that I've had kind of a hard time figuring out how to get these best to work for me. Like, they're a little too liquidy to use with a sponge, I find, but I also thought they were a little sometimes difficult to use with a brush. Well, I kind of take that back now. This bronzer shade I actually really do love applying with a traditional kind of angled blush brush like this. This is so beautiful, but it's, I would say it's more of a highlight than it is even a bronze, at least on my skin tone. It does give me a touch of a bronzed kind of sun-kissed effect, but once it's blended in, can you guys see just this glorious sheen? It's seriously this beautiful, glossy, kind of almost greasy looking in the best way, like the way that a sun goddess would look greasy. Still sounds bad. I'm really happy with this. I'm very happy to finally have kind of figured out how to get this to work for me. I still need to play with the other ones a little bit. I actually like this one better as a highlight than the highlight shade that came with it. I feel like it's a little bit more glossy for my skin. It just works for me, especially this time of year when I have a touch of a tan to my skin. It's a really good way to give my cheeks a tiny bit of color and a beautiful natural looking sheen. So nice. And by the way, that is what I am wearing on my cheeks today. That highlight that you're seeing right there is strictly coming from this right here. Moving on to two more products that are kind of combination cheek slash lip products, and I like them both for both my lips and my cheeks. I have mentioned both of them, I believe, before. First off, this one right here. This is the Flower Beauty Gel Crush Lip and Cheek. I love these. I've loved them for quite a while. Happy to see Tati, who by the way is back on YouTube, which is pretty exciting. She mentioned these in a recent things I've been loving for like the last year while she was gone video. And if Tati loves something, it makes me feel like I'm validated for some reason, which is kind of silly because we all love different things. This is so good though, you guys. I really love this. It's a really nice multi-purpose product, and I've really been getting into this type of a product. You guys will probably know if you've been watching me for a while. I'm a big fan of the Milk Lip and Cheek Stick in the shade Work. This is actually a really good alternative to that. In fact, I want to give them a quick side-by-side swatch. I know they're not going to be perfect dupes, but they do remind me a lot of each other, especially in their formula. They're nice and hydrating, but they're not super dewy or glossy like some of the other liquid or cream cheek products that I do love. So here's the Flower Beauty one. This one is in the shade Strawberry Crush. I think this one is probably my favorite. It probably is more suited for, I would say, light to fair skin tones. Really pretty pink shade. And then here we have the Milk Lip and Cheek. This one is in the shade Work. This one's not quite as cool toned pink. It's more of a peachy pink, but they really do remind me so much of each other in their texture and formula. They're both hydrating, but they also provide a good amount of color. They work great for the lips, but they also work really well on the cheeks, especially with a brush or with a finger. I love them both so much. They both have a really nice, pleasant scent. They don't smell the same. I actually like the scent of this one. This is one of my very favorite scented products in my collection. It's a very subtle scent, but it's really soft and beautiful. This also has a really soft, almost fruity sort of scent that's really pleasant, and I love just throwing this into my purse. I've been throwing it into my purse all month long. In fact, before this video I had to go get it from my purse to bring it back down here. Gives a good amount of color. I love the color pink on my lips in the springtime and summertime. I feel like it looks really nice with the tan, so that's what the color looks like all by itself. Really pretty affordable, really nice product from Flower Beauty that I have been loving this month. Another one I've really been enjoying, and this one specifically for my lips, is from Hard Candy. I talked about these last month. These are their Plumping Serum Lip Balms. This one specifically is in the shade Bountiful Bear. It's a really light peachy pink. I love this on my lips. These are a little bit more glossy and hydrating than these two products right here. They're really just what they say. They're a tinted lip balm that has kind of a plumping property. I can use this one on my cheeks. I like the Colossal Caramel shade a lot better on my cheeks because it shows up a little bit more. As you will see, I'll swatch this for you guys right next to the other two, and that's a good like 6 times over my skin. It's a lot more sheer, but it's a lot more glossy. But I kind of love that for my lips. This is another good product just to throw into your purse. I love applying this on top of just a little bit of lip liner. I'm going to add just a little bit of this on top of the Milk one so you guys can see the difference in the finish. This is going to give me a little bit more glossiness. Still not super glossy. It just has a little bit more of a hydrating, somewhat sheer effect to it that I absolutely love. One more product for the lips. This is a very old favorite that I've pulled back out and fallen back in love with this month. It is the NYX Lip Liner in the shade Beige. This is a classic. I've heard a lot of people talk about this specific shade, I think for years. I want to say like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 years ago, I heard people raving about this shade. I love this lip liner. It's just such a good classic color, really good formula. It's not too creamy to where it's going to slip and slide around or fade off. It does last pretty well considering it's not like meant to be a long wearing or waterproof lip pencil. It does last really well on my lips and it looks good under just about anything. Let's go through just a couple of eyeshadow palettes. First off, an old favorite of mine that I always love to pull back out in the summer. It is the Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette. I believe this palette has been discontinued, but if you are fortunate enough to have this, I know I just said this in one of my last videos, but I'm going to say it again. This is such a good palette. I have recently taken this out of town with me once or twice, and I still love it after all these years. The looks that come out of this palette are just so good. The mattes are such a perfect formula, super intense, very pigmented, but they also blend like a dream. I love these two shimmers. I feel like I talk about them a lot considering that this is kind of an old obscure sort of palette, but I really love it. One of my favorites in the summertime, and just the packaging has those summer kind of feels and vibes, and the shadows inside are just spectacular. But speaking of spectacular shadows, let's take a moment and talk about another favorite of mine that I feel like is very time appropriate, and I'm talking about Sydney Grace Cosmetics. You guys know Sydney Grace has been a very long, well, not even that long actually. I only discovered Sydney Grace about 1.5 years ago, but I instantly fell in love with them. This is the brand of eyeshadows to beat all eyeshadows, in my opinion. So this last month I put together this little travel palette right here. I think I made a few modifications from the Shop My Stash that I did. I believe I showed you guys this palette, but I made a couple of modifications. I put a bronze in there, and I think I put another, I can't remember. 1 or 2 of these shades I did end up swapping out, but guys, honestly, you cannot go wrong with Sydney Grace eyeshadows. They are so good. I have almost every single that she currently offers, and I love every single one of them. There's not a shade of hers that I wouldn't use, at least from what I have. She might have a few bold shades that maybe I haven't quite picked up yet, but her formulas are just so great. The mattes blend so easily, and she does such a good job with mid-tone mattes that they all just look so stunning on the eyes, whether you're going with like a lavender or something with more of like a concrete gray or a little bit more pink in it, maybe a peach. All of these are stunning on the eyes, and they all can kind of be interchanged to give you just a little bit of a different look. It does make it really hard for me to recommend individual shades from her, individual favorites, because I do love so many of hers. I believe in the first Sydney Grace singles video that I did, which I will link for you guys down below, I did put together some, I think, quad combinations perhaps, that I recommended for you guys. So check that video out if you're interested in Sydney Grace Cosmetics. And as one more plug for Sydney Grace, I'm not sponsored. I don't get any sort of compensation for this. I just really do love Sydney Grace eyeshadows, but her sale is coming up next month, which is another reason I especially wanted to mention her eyeshadows right now. Just in case any of you have been curious about Sydney Grace for a while, this is the time of year to do it. She only does 2 sales a year. One is coming up in just a couple of weeks in the month of July. So keep an eye on her website. I highly recommend any of her eyeshadows. I did just pick up, in fact, I already use these in a video that you guys will be seeing very soon, 2 of her new eyeshadow palettes in collaboration with Timtalia. These are super fun, super impressive. I am wearing this one on my eyes today, which is the one called Quintessence. This is the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. I have these grays and silvers right here along with this duochrome. Then I have a little bit of this kind of vibrant cobalt blue as a bit of lighter on my upper lash line. So pretty. Her formulas are always spectacular. I love her mattes, and her shimmers are next level. They're my favorite shimmer formula, which I know I have said many times before, but I wanted to mention that for you guys because her sale is coming up, and it's a great time to try out Sydney Grace Cosmetics. And keep an eye out for this video. Will be up shortly. Last but not least, I have a couple of brushes or brush items to mention for you guys. First off is a single brush from Rephr. You guys know I'm a big fan of Rephr. I've gotten sent most of their brushes in PR. This one I did by myself. This is a new brush from them. This is the number 21 brush. This is just one of those flat, it's a natural hair flat brush. This is great for applying shimmer to your lid if you are one of those people that doesn't like using their fingers. I know there's a lot of you out there. I almost always do use my finger, but I find this to work nearly as good as my finger. I still believe that nothing works quite as well as your finger if you want something truly metallic, but this is going to get awfully close. The best brush for that purpose that I've tried so far. So very happy to have this one. I've been reaching for this a lot this last month and really impressed with it. I have also been super impressed with this brush set right here. I've talked a few times about this over the course of the last month. This is the Royal & Lang Rose Gold brush set. These are really good, you guys. So I have been using these very consistently over the last month. I wanted to get a really good feel for the entire brush set. I love every brush inside here, with the exception of this brush, and it's not that I don't love it, I just don't find this to be a brush type that I feel necessary. But that said, it is a pretty good one when it comes to these types of brushes. It's actually quite thick compared to some of the other paddle type brushes that I've tried, and every other brush inside here I find to be really good quality and a really good essential set from top to bottom. That's really hard to do. There's a lot of sets out there that I find some of the brushes in the set I just don't find to be very functional for me. I initially thought that might be the case with this brush set, but as I've used them all, I feel like they all serve a really good purpose. This blending brush, the crease brush right here, blends great. It's a great kind of first step for eyeshadow application brush. It has a nice little point on it, so I feel like it will work for a lot of different sizes of eyelids or eye shapes. Really good quality. The ferrules of all these brushes are really nice quality. This one right here is just a good traditional larger smudge type eyeshadow brush. I like this one a lot. I don't use this one quite as much as some of the others, but I do find it to work really well. This one right here I absolutely love. This is the detail brush. It's like a tiny version of this one right here that's a little bit shorter. fantastic brush for smudging along the lower lash line or shaping out this outer corner, which I find that type of brush to be super essential. It reminds me a lot of the rougher number 2 brush. It's a little bit smaller, but it serves the same purpose as that brush. And this is one of my most used rougher brushes. I even like this one right here, which is the smudger brush. This is a more stiff kind of dome shaped brush. This is really good if you really want to get nice and deep and dark here in your outer corner. You can do some really fine detail work with this and really pack on intensity or color with this brush. It's a great one. You also get this angled brush. I think this is meant to be for the brows. It's their brow brush. It would be great for your brows, but I actually use this more for liner, especially powdered liner. I did use it today with that cobalt blue liner that you're seeing there. I used this brush. It worked so well, and this is a really good pointed brush for like a gel liner. And last but not least, these 3 brushes right here. This highlighter brush is probably my favorite of the entire bunch. Really good highlighter brush. I have a lot of highlighter brushes that I love, so I don't necessarily need this one, but it is a good one if you're looking for a highlighter brush that comes in a good solid set. That is a good one. Really good powder brush. And then this angled brush right here, which I don't use a ton, but I actually have been using it a lot with the Daniel Sandler liquid bronzer, and it's been working really well for me. So I'm very happy to say that I've officially used all of the brushes inside here, and I do recommend the set as a whole. The last time I checked, I believe the brush set was on sale for around $75. I know that's still kind of a high investment. I do just want to give a little asterisk. I've only had these for about a month, so I can't say anything about their longevity. They feel very high quality, but that is something that only time can tell. So know that going into these. I think full price they're $154, which I think can be a little bit steep, but I do think a good brush set is something that I appreciate more. The more that I've tried a lot of different brushes, the more I recognize that just having a good staple brush set that's going to be like a workhorse for you is really, really essential. Now, I don't think you have to spend a ton of money on it. I have some good sets from Alter Ego that I still recommend that aren't going to be super expensive. You guys know I love my rougher brushes, but they're going to cost you an arm and a leg, and I don't think you have to spend that much money. I love them, I appreciate them, but I recognize that's an investment that not everyone can make. But I feel like this is a good middle ground. Good quality so far, and a really good staple set that I think will give you all the brushes that you would need to create any type of makeup look that you would probably want to do. By the way, not sponsored by these. I don't get any sort of commission on these brushes. I just wanted to update you guys. I feel like I was sounding a little bit like a salesman there for a minute. And that, you guys, is it for my favorite things from the month of June. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what things you guys have been loving this last month. Have you guys tried out any new releases that I have not tried out that you think I should? Kind of hate to encourage you guys to encourage me to try out more makeup, because clearly I do not need to if you've been watching my videos recently. But let's not lie to ourselves. That's why we're all here. We all love makeup, and we all understand the struggle that can come along with that. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys watching my videos this last month. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that your summer is going great. If it is summer, I know some of you are in winter. That kind of baffles me. It's hard to imagine that someone is having winter out there when it's 102 degrees outside where I live. I want to give you one more reminder. If you have not yet subscribed, maybe you're new, you just found me, please be sure to subscribe before you leave. I'd really appreciate it. But that is all I have for you guys today. I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye.
Wait, the frog that has lines on its back?
Yeah.
The one that kissed the princess?
Yes, that one. Okay, it's time for you to be quiet so I can finish, okay? Oh, what was that website called? Skin something. Where did I buy these? Come on. Skin store. I knew it was skin something. I was right. I was right on it. It has been a crazy couple of months. Maybe we'll do an update video, and I'm sure you guys don't care that much what's going on in my personal life. Yes, they probably do. And now they feel bad because you told them that they didn't care about what's going on in your personal life. Oh, Mandy, so manipulative.